My moment-to-moment experience of reality has just become even more freaky.
It's both the one and the mini, bro.
Not just yogically, but in the most ordinary parts of life. I think I finally got over that fear of intimacy.
We're yoked.
But only after renouncing from women for the whole year. The longest since I lost my virginity. So I think Khan said I have the karma of 1,000 heartbreaks. Our mentor Machen says this relationship that I'm in right now is my first girlfriend experience. What does he mean by that? When she got a new job,
I'm not there to make friends.
it pushed my realization fitness to an extreme level. In contemplative CrossFit, mind training is life training, and life is relationships. We log everything in real time, and this was my weekend. I'll show you how recognizing being a presence in every situation is what got me over the fear of intimacy and how it can take you all the way.
Nobody needs to know who your boyfriend is.
Appearances, although empty, have consequences.
When you guys are ready to buy a house, shred it, shred it, shred it.
You transcend transcendence by descending.
And when you descend, you also ascend. Because contraction and expansion happen simultaneously and they codependent too.
Baby, I know.
When you go very, very big, you also contracts to a singularity, which loops back to the infinitely quote-unquote large. But there's no size. After the CC weekly debrief, me and G went to the gym. She inspired me to do squats for the first time in years. Physical exertion is a main part of our contemplative lifestyle.
Wow, you got so much stronger.
Working.
There's this thing called BDSM in CC, like Buddha, Dharma, Sangha as the original triple gems, but then we added the modernity, the M, like marriage, mating, modernity, or maestro. We don't separate karma from dharma, or the divine from the mundane, or the purity from impurity. So the training is to rest as being, everything that rises and ceases, like your afflictions and obscurations, while recognizing presence. What is infinite, luminous, but immovable, and aware as not too. Even something as simple as visiting an old friend becomes a training in exerting relational fitness, especially if the past has the potential to pull you back into old karmic patterns. G got 2 PRs on a squat, and afterwards, we went to my friend Brian Jin's Pokemon card show, and here's my Discord entry. Brian is perhaps my only friend left in Rockville, a city in Montgomery County with a population of 67,117. Brian found my videos when he was 16. He wrote to me, quiet, direct,
Where's my vape?
said that he liked artsy filmmaking, said he played the violin. There was something familiar in that, like recognizing a reflection that's neither the same nor different than yours. Back then, my YouTube channel had no gravity. He helped me film, no announcements, no expectations, just there, steady, like background music you only notice when it's gone. We traveled the world, visited Ronnie Coleman, RSD Taylor. He's a big fan of your videos.
What's up, man?
Elliott Halls, Joji's, and others.
It's actually really fucking insane.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, thanks,
You
man.
fucking really killed it.
If I post it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, you can post it.
We even went to our first Vipassana retreat in 2015. It was insane, but I had yet to experience the 4D donut. And sometimes I say perception is panoramic. It's the totality of your 6 sense spheres perceiving itself. Spatially, yes, but it's also panoramic temporally, where the present contains the future and the past contains the future and the present. Space and time is a single fabric, making mind and reality a hypertorus eating itself. Everything's interpenetrating, yet nothing is touching because all phenomena are coreless and empty of inherent existence. Brian and his partner Tim started a Pokemon card business, both planning to go big to escape their 9-to-5 lives, transmuting Pokemon cards into freedom.
This is how I got 60 free packs from a sneaker shop and how you can do this too in 5 easy steps.
After the car show, all of us went to a Dry Hotpot place called Ma La in the Rockville town center. The name comes from 2 Chinese characters, Ma meaning numbing and La meaning spicy. The numbing comes from Sichuan peppercorns, which contains 3% hydroxytyrosol. It's the kind of spice that makes your tongue feel electric and alive.
Yeah, you lose your mind.
You lose your mind.
But that's the whole point, though.
Tim, Brian's business partner, is a decade younger than Brian. Sharp and restless. I just like to hustle, he says, stirring his pot. Sitting there, I started to apply the yogic skills that I learned from CC. where we are instructed to aggregate as other sentient beings, to feel their thoughts and think their feelings as part of the training for the 9th Bhumi territory with anatta realization, when most people consider the end of the spiritual path to be only the 1st Bhumi and the 10th Bhumi being the cloud of Dharma. To progress through the Bhumis, it's crucial to understand being and presence. When the fusion between being and presence becomes an embodied lived experience, reality becomes infinitely flexible. The way you aggregate becomes the art of your life. Being is both the one and the many, while presence is neither the one nor the many. And presence is the space-like nature of mind. And being is the ever-shifting geometry of the 5 aggregates of form, feeling, perception, consciousness, and fabrication.
Like all the sensations.
Yes, but it's not just limited to your body mind, it's your entire field of experience. Presence is luminous, boundless, and unconditioned. And being is generated through with an S presence, while presence cognizes and illuminates the being. Being unfolds in time, like everything becoming, while presence is space-like, holding it all, yet untouched. Being is never apart from presence, yet presence can never be affected by being. Content and context, background and foreground collapse. First I aggregated as Brian, then as Tim, and then both of them simultaneously, subtly shifting in position, posture, attention, and even taste. This is how the flexibility of being, or perhaps compassion, is trained. And it only works if you recognize presence, otherwise you get lost in the identities that you take on. Suddenly I realized that the dynamic between Brian and Tim mirrors the one between me and Khan, the co-founder of CC. Complementary, and yet held together by a tension of motivation. Now, aggregating as your romantic partner, that's a real training at the marginal edge of your fitness. Karmic patterns are shared, and the feedback is immediate, especially if you share the same birth date. I feel like it's going to be a project for me too. I'm going to go on my CC log and be like, oh.
Like around 21:30, you can close out the video from there, but that would cut out that entire section of the mall.
The reason why I put that in there, I can take it out, is...
I know what you mean, but
I'll mark it down. Yeah.
No, that part is actually just confusing.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
To be honest, I just think you need to let enough be enough.
Should we tell them about your new job? I whispered to G. You would make a great reaction shot.
Abercrombie?
No.
Maybe a little bit more extreme.
For real? Oh my
Yeah.
In the middle of the meal, my mom texted me and said she got a new car.
Introducing the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 with up to 360-mile range. When it comes to EVs, we're thinking of every mile.
It seems like everyone around me is making big moves.
Expression gushes through the bloody beating of my soft and infinite heart. Career changes are likely.
After her first ayahuasca retreat last weekend, G felt called to an unexpected path. She decided to become an exotic dancer and had chosen Maya as a stage name. Other than her love for pole dancing and a chance to practice exertion so she could burn through her karmas, she said she wanted to do this as a personal experiment to explore all aspects of reality. On Thursday night, she walked into a high-end gentleman's club in Washington, D.C. and was hired on the spot immediately after showing the fruit of her labor through pole dancing classes, ecstatic movements, contact improvisations, Vipassana retreats, and the lingering rhythm of poems she once wrote, some of which made her the People's Choice Poetry Contest winner on Angelo Di Lulu's YouTube channel.
We had to know ourselves through the inverse of ourselves. We knew that love was painful, but at the time that we jumped into the dream, we didn't know what pain was. In the drunkenness of being ourself, we jumped into a dream to know the beauty of ourself through contrast, to understand limitlessness through limits, to understand total unknowing through knowledge.
Such a beautiful poem. Beyond that, the conditions still exist. Conditions exist and karma exists, and it continues to refine itself.
I didn't remember meeting her at a conference with Angelo until she joined one bootcamp a year ago.
Frank, yay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
She said she wouldn't have done this without my emotional support. You can say we manifested this bottle together. I've always had this half-serious fantasy of dating exotic dancers who majored in philosophy and talked about non-dualities in between dances. Don't think your dreams don't come true, because they do. You better be careful what you wish for.
You know what? Yeah, you gotta eat. Come on.
There's always a price. Perhaps God didn't give it to you because he knew you wouldn't have the steady hand it takes to carry the weight of your own dreams. Applying what I learned in Contemplative CrossFit in regards to debrief culture, we decided to debrief after his shifts every night.
It's 4 in the morning. I've been editing nonstop since you went to work, and I'm still up or waiting for the render. And the video is about exertion. So I've been exerting on exertion.
We're exerting today, baby.
Your fitness level got so much better. I gotta wake up in 3 hours and do another freaking talk about art and dharma.
Now we're manicuring this bottle together as a unified karmic package, moving through it with grace, caution, and finesse, knowing that appearances, although ultimately empty, do have consequences. This unfolding has also inspired me to step on my game. Leveling up my professionalism, I'm suddenly competing with powerhouses of DC, lawyers, doctors, politicians, men more disciplined and savvy, and perhaps more freaky than I am. But there are many ways to flex other than riches and status, primarily being yourself. And this is why we emphasize on coming as you are and paying homage to your afflictions. It is only by resting as your conditioned existence, neither resisting nor non-resisting, can the unborn reveal itself. What it comes down to is the fitness to fully express your being and yourself while transcending it. And it's very difficult for the dualistic mind to hold both of these positions simultaneously. Without recognizing the patterns of your being and really taking full ownership of it,
Give us a kiss.
it's nearly impossible to leap into the space-like nature of mind. When you instantiate the fitness to rest as being and just be with whatever is arising, whether that's neutral, positive, or negative, presence, that which is always and already awake, will simply reveal itself. That's the practice of resting and recognizing. And there are as many ways to rest as there are to be. We both launder people's afflictions, and it can be a lot of handle if you don't have enough fitness. But if you do it through the right view, you flip karma to dharma. You can channel afflictions into fuels for creativity. So the practice, and this is how Tantra works, is never to get rid of desires, but through presence, hold even more desire and transform them into compassion and freedom. The inseparable dance between being and presence, but guys, it really creates that infinite twisting in and twisting out. A lot of non-dual teachings, they just go straight to presence, but they negate the being. There's no guide on how to work through your karmas. You know, sometimes I use the analogy of like centerless, headless octopus, and every sensation is kind of like your tentacle that's just like... But then now I have the ability to yoke into things. To yoke is to bind or to unite. That's what yoga means. Aggregate as different acolytes and hold it all simultaneously.
I actually was experiencing the same thing. There was something moving my body, untwisting things, and...
Because the sweaters, exactly.
We're yoked.
So I was making an intention to maybe like untwist our shared karma together.
You came up in my set, Ioniq. The observer aggregated really solidly, and then you came up very clearly. Since our karmas have intertwined.
Before, it was just like super consistent back pain. Knotted up, twisted up from all the stress.
Dude, I set intention to like untwist you today. Make it more donutty.
I felt this twisting.
That's crazy.
It's both the one and the mini and beyond the one and the mini. You could go full tilt either way and you would get to the same place with objectification. You could objectify yourself so fucking completely, including every single thought, every single judgment that they have, every single perceptual lens. So they only objectify another person as an other without also objectifying every single phenomena that they experience. You could objectify yourself so fucking completely that you arrive at no self. Or you could go so far away from objectivity, like there is absolutely no object here.
And it's just all subject.
It's all subject, yeah.
They're the same, yeah.
And, or it's all like so abstract that it can't be contained into any box whatsoever. If you even objectify the process of objectification, then there's no subject or no object.
My Valentine's Day gift. I love haters and motivation.
You know what I realized is like love requires a lot of realization fitness. Like, I think Khan said I have the karma of 1,000 heartbreaks. I had to overcome my fear of intimacy. My chin said recently that this relationship I'm in right now is my first girlfriend experience. And I contemplated, but like, what does he mean by that? Even though I had like so many girlfriends before. Well, it's my first like official relationship like after a naturalization. Without going like, oh, we're not boyfriends and girlfriends. There's no title. I'm just like committed to it just as the same way that I'm committed to work. I kind of got over that fear of intimacy. And this was after the pith instruction to renounce from females and sex for an entire year to repattern the karmic entanglements from previous relationships. And this is the longest I've gone without being with anyone since losing my virginity.
Confucius said you have to be brave.
I was stuck in infinity. Bypassed a lot of the human and relational fitness stuff. And there was a view that realization means you aren't supposed to feel emotion or feel romance. You can actually feel complete dispassion while at the same time feel a lot of passion, feel a lot of romance. Those two views also do not contradict. Because like I said earlier, the conditioned, well, you can say romantic love is like the love of separation is conditioned. The unconditioned is not apart from the conditions. Yet at the same time, no conditions, no appearances can touch the unconditioned. So that's the view refinement thing. It's like my view wasn't refined enough.
Hey, you're taking it from me.
I want to wear it for the video.
Oh.
She came home on Friday at 5 a.m. We went to bed at approximately 6:35 a.m. and woke up with coated coffee, crafted for unconventional thinkers by our friend and CC teammate Adam Rodriguez, an ex-Marine and MMA fighter. Harvesting sentient beings for sentient beings, coated coffee aspires to be the best cup of coffee for those who refuse to sleepwalk through their morning rituals. At 10:45 a.m., me and G drive across town to the house of a retired dancer. The total driving distance from Rockville, Maryland to Alexandria, Virginia is 26 miles or 42 kilometers with a driving time of 48 minutes. Alexandria is an independent city in Northern Virginia, United States. It lies in the western bank of the Potomac River, approximately 7 miles south of Washington, D.C., with a population of 159,467. We're there to buy some wardrobe for her work. The ex-exotic dancer lived in a modest, sun-faded house that smelled faintly of avocado oil and old veneer. She was in her 50s, but had the bounce in her speech and step that remind me of a point guard. And because and despised they are undersized, always led the team in steals per game. For nearly 20 years, she would dance under the color lights and neon shadows. After retiring, she started her own small business, setting up pop-up shops at gentlemen's clubs, selling exotic costumes and shimmery accessories, sparkling remnants of her previous life. We had planned to interview her, brought the company mic, tripods, everything. But before we could speak...
So after you guys leave here, go to Walmart, get a calendar, right? Write down the days you work, okay? First, you write down your bills. My rent's due here, my phone bill's due here, my car insurance. Whatever your bills are, fill that up and get a red highlighter and highlight that because it keeps you focused. That week, that's your minimum what you need to make for that week. Minimum.
Yeah, you gotta exert. Not just about this business, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keep your receipts for everything. You never know what you can claim. Got your nails done? Get a receipt for that. Got your hair done? Get a receipt for that. Within 30 minutes, he's not tipping you, move on. There's a lot of bouncers. There's not a lot of disrespect. There are going to be some, but not that. A club like that has a lot of bouncers. So customers know to be on their tippy toes. Some other clubs, they don't get that. There's a lot of girls, but the club is nice. So stick to the rules, be there on time, be that good girl that you don't cause attention all the time. There's cameras in the rooms, so you know not to be doing bad stuff. You know, you're there to make money. You're not there to make friends. If you find a customer that really just likes you, train them. So all your important paperwork.
Keep it in a safe.
Keep it in a safe. Your social security number, your bank account number. When you guys are ready to buy a house, make sure you buy a house with a walkout basement and good enough street parking. That way it's going to gain you guys so much money. And then later when you guys like, you know what, we're ready for our real house or your dream house, right? Then you rent upstairs of that house and the basement while you guys are living in your dream home. Red Bull, don't do that.
Don't do Red Bull.
That messed up your gut lining. Gut health, autoimmune disease comes from your gut. Take care of your gut, probiotics, healthy food, fermented food. Healthy food is the key.
Yeah.
And don't drink that much alcohol, save your liver. Nobody needs to know that you guys went to Italy. Yeah. Nobody needs to know who your boyfriend is. And then when you go to home, you're going home. Leave that at work. I used to make my own lotion. It's non-toxic makeup, non-toxic body spray, non-toxic perfume. Why do you think sometimes your period was a lot heavier than last week?
At one point, she explained the most efficient way to hide a tampon at work. You shouldn't be afraid to work then, she said. The pheromones creates an aura. Even if they don't understand what they're sensing, it draws them closer. On Sunday, after grocery shopping at the local Korean marketplace, we skipped the Nike outlet and instead exit onto exit 1 on Interstate 270, a 34.7-mile auxiliary interstate highway in the U.S. state of Maryland, to arrive at
Westfield is
glamour.
Westfield's universal.
Westfield, always surprising you.
Spending money on someone special.
The ultimate destination for food, fashion, and fun. And of course, practicing resting and recognizing, because even in the noise, the wanting, we let everything be as it is, resting as being, while simultaneously recognizing the patterns as they arise through and as presence. Resting and recognizing ultimately merge as a singularity.
Is shopping exertion?
She bought $109 in cash to the mall, all $1 bills, and at least 2 clerks at every store double counted the bills. Without intent, she synchronistically spent exactly $109 at the following 5 stores: Urban Outfitters, Victoria's Secret, Pink, Windsor, and Skim. Everything she made was feeding back onto itself, shaping the next version of what she would become. It felt recursive, almost poetic, like capitalism reincarnated in rhyme, lice, crystal incense sticks.
Okay. Can I have your Instagram? It's so inspiring.
On the drive back from the mall, G said she wanted to show my mother her new black heels decorated with diamonds. But I told her to wait. Some things, I said, only reveal their true shape when the right silence is gathered around them. We then drove home and heated the leftovers. My mom's pig leg recipe.
As the pork knuckles boil, all the impurities in the bone come to the top. Dried octopus and dried chilies.
And the original instant ramen noodles since 1970.
What you'll love is that you can serve your family in 3 minutes and for just pennies. Top Ramen Oriental Noodle Soup, the mostly noodle soup from Nation Food.
While we ate, we watched together the movie starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie.
What's going on?
Where a couple, after abandoning everything and moving to the countryside, encounters a mysterious force that fused them into one. At one point, G paused the movie and said,
"Let's go work out."
And that was my weekend. So you can have glimpses of presence from being, but the recognition loop won't close. It's like this partial recognition that people can use to bypass and utter like non-dual zombie quotes like, oh, there's no one here, I am God, I am awareness. Their dualistic mind will attempt to explain away the relative. It can bypass or hijack and appropriate the ultimate into a thing, like substantializing the unconditioned, which cannot be grasped upon, into a new ground. If you start to look for presence, like doing self-inquiry, that's still coming from being. When the conditionings are perceived, illuminated by and as presence, all the afflictions and obscurations ceases the moment it arises. Karma continues to unfold as Dharma.